Hey, welcome everybody. Happy day. It is 2 p.m. Central Time in Austin, Texas. I'm happy to be here with you. Make sure you post your comments and questions. I'm going to make sure I keep an eye out on them here. We are streaming into LinkedIn, YouTube, and I believe Facebook and a few Facebook groups. So happy to be here with you all. Again, make sure you share where you're from. Where are you watching this from? Your desktop. If you're on LinkedIn, you may be in your organization, you may be working, or if you're over on YouTube, you may be driving, you may be watching this live. And so, wherever you are, say hello, and I can see those comments come through here on my end. So, welcome everybody. I hope you all are fantastic. Again, 2 p.m. Central Time in Austin, Texas, and we are live. These live trainings are so much fun for me because I get to take a very important topic, a topic that is um, either challenging you right now as a leader. It may be causing frustration or overwhelm in your leadership practice. It may be costing you some things, and you come every week to hear about this topic and hear about ways to strategize around this topic. And so that way, we show up in our leadership practice stronger, better, and serving our institutions and organizations and our teams. And so that is the goal of why we do this every single week. We want to support you no matter where you are on your leadership journey. So, whether you are an aspiring leader, you're someone who is a high performer and a high potential performer, and you are very interested in making that leap into leadership, taking that first step on the leadership ladder, this is a great place for you to be. Or perhaps you are an emerging leader, meaning you are a first time leader, first time manager, director, supervisor. You are looking for leadership training and development. And there are many things that you want to learn and things that you want to get better at. This is the spot for you. What if you're a mid level manager? Right? You've been around the block a few times. You are no stranger to challenges and frustration and overwhelm. And you're also not a stranger to building great teams. But sometimes some of us reach our ceiling, meaning that we have reached our current ability to serve our people in the most effective way. So we've hit a ceiling, and we know that because we know we're very self-aware. We know our voids, we know our deficiencies, we know our gaps. And perhaps this is where you show up every week to learn something new. So again, aspiring leader, emerging leader, mid-level manager, you're all welcome here. What if you're a senior level leader and you're stopping by my channel, you're stopping by this live stream every single week, every single Wednesday? You're interested in a topic that maybe you can share with your, high potential employees. These are high potential, high performers who want to be the next leaders in your department, in your organization. And you want to learn something to show them something that you've just learned from our live streams. So you are welcome here too. How about if you're a CEO or founder like me? Listen, I'm always learning, I'm always growing. There's always an opportunity to develop. And that's why I'm in the industry of leadership training and development. This is why I'm obsessed with this topic, with our field of study, which is leadership, so that I can support every single leader, no matter where they are on the pipeline of leadership. So wherever you find yourself, know that you are going to get great benefit from joining me every single week here on either LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and learn something about leadership with me every single week. So, we're going to talk about something really important: the lack of experience. The lack of a leader's experience is costing this leader, costing the organization, costing the team. Your lack of experience will cost you. So, your lack of experience is evident in how you show up in the organization and the results or the lack of impact that you are creating in your department, with your team, in your organization. You may think that you're doing a great job hiding your inefficiencies, hiding your voids, hiding those gaps. But I promise you, unconsciously, that you are behaving and creating results in an inexperienced way. The cost of a leader's lack of experience is substantial for organizations. It impacts various aspects of business performance and, of course, employee well being. And I'm going to show you today how to prepare for these moments where you identify the voids in your experience level. I'm going to help you with a very simple exercise, and this is why I have my handy dandy board behind me to show you a very simple exercise to help you identify those gaps, those voids. Because s- here's what I've realized in helping hundreds of leaders, and then I, as a leader myself, and have been in the trenches of leadership all of my adult life. I started as a 19-year-old Bath and Body Works retail manager, ran a store of over 40 plus seasonal part-time and full-time employees. And somebody gave me the keys to the kingdom at 19 years old. It was a bit bonkers. Was about to graduate from college, and someone said, "Well, you're a high performer. Why not give her an opportunity to get into leadership?" And I said, "Okay, sure." Just because I was a high performer did not mean I was a high potential employee, but somebody said, "You may wanna try this." And I, because of the lack of knowledge, the lack of experience, I said, "Sure, put me in." And there I was, thrusted into leadership. Now listen, nobody forced me. I certainly said, "Okay, I'm in." It sounded very exciting. The pay was great for a 19-year-old woman at that time, single, no family. And I said, "Yes, put me in. I will do this," not realizing the lack of knowledge, competence, skill level, mindset level, strategy. I lacked so much experience that it did cost me big time. And so I understand when a leader lacks experience, how it can cost you, your team, and your organization in big ways, not just financial ways, performance ways, employee wellness ways. There's so many aspects to what it can cost a leader when they lack experience. So let's take, for example, right now, you probably know someone. If it's not you, you know someone in your organization who lacks a lot of experience, and you can identify those that lack the experience because they create very negative results. They yield negative results. And we see that in many different ways through, employee turnover. I mean, how many leaders out here, and let's be vulnerable, let's be honest. Self-honesty is a very important characteristic of a great leader. Let's practice some self-honesty here. How many of you have been challenged with that, with turnover? Let's say you step into a brand new leadership role, and you realize, this is big, like this is important role, it's an important role, I've got a lot of duties and responsibilities, and I may be in over my head. And then we start behaving and taking action from a very negative mindset, from a lack of skill set, from a lack of strategy implementation and execution. And so then we soon realize we're in over our heads. And so you now start seeing the results of your lack of experience by employee turnover, lack of performance. How about employees gossiping about you or gossiping about another leader in the organization? They're talking behind their backs because they are fully aware of the lack of experience that you have. And let me normalize this for you. This is normal and it is common, and it is something that I have experienced every time I reach a new level of success. Every time I was moving from one level of leadership into another. And maybe even in that same leadership position, a new campaign, a new project, a new team I had to lead then opened up yet another flood, right, of awareness that I lack competence, that I lack skill, that I lack strategy and implementation. So let me normalize that for us right away. And this is why training and development is important, because a lot of our organizations out here are not investing in you. And it's not their fault. They promoted you, they saw something in you of great potential and said they should be a leader, and you're thrusted into leadership unprepared. It's called the Peter Principle. When you thrust someone into leadership without the proper leadership development and training, and you set them up for failure. This is common in organizations. And so if you have experienced that, raise your hand. Let's be honest here. There are some leaders out here that are not prepared to lead the next crop of leaders. So it's not your fault that your organization is not investing in your leadership training and development. It's not their fault. But here's what I want for you to remember. It is now your responsibility, because we leaders have great responsibilities. We have a whole other level of duties and obligations that we didn't have as a regular high performer. As a regular high performer individual employee, we now have these responsibilities. And so it is also your responsibility to go and get that leadership training and development so that you can be your best for yourself, your team, and your organization. And so I bring up this topic today because it's a topic that, because I do have a lot of clients that come to me because they lack experience. They've been newly promoted into these positions and they immediately realize they're in over their heads. And that's normal. The overwhelm is normal. What's not normal is you staying stagnant and frustrated in that situation. It is your responsibility to now go seek the help. But first, we have to find awareness that we have these voids. Some of us on here right now are probably thinking, well, I don't know about you, Denise, but I'm an expert. I am perfect in my role. I mean, I don't know how much better I could get. Listen, um, I don't think any client has ever come to me with that attitude, actually. It's something I've not heard ever. Um, but if that is you, you're very rare. But if that is you, here's the moment where we need to find awareness around those gaps, those voids, those inefficiencies, ways that we can close those gaps so that we can be better. Because listen, leader, you were hired to do two primary things. You can put everything into these two primary things. Number one, solve for problems. And we do that with our teams, don't we? We do that every single day. We are solving for problems in the organization that impact our clients, our customers, our internal customers, our stakeholders, our investors. We are always solving for problems. And number two, we create results. We solve for problems, we create results. And we do that. We do those two things with our teams. And so if you are finding yourself with gaps in your mindset, meaning your beliefs are a little shaky right now. You're not on on you're not solid in your footing. You are a little unstable in your belief about yourself and your capacity to lead, your capacity to solve for problems and create results. Maybe your mindset is in the gutter when it comes to your teammates or your subordinates. Maybe you have a bad attitude about their capacity, their potential, right? Some of us create these personal dramas in our own heads and our own minds when it comes to individuals on our teams. I know that was who I was. I made it something personal. If looked at me a certain way, if they, disrespected me in a certain way, they, didn't ask me for help, I immediately made it mean something personal about me. That's part of your mindset. What if you're looking at your skill gaps? There are some skill gaps that you have right now. Maybe you've been newly promoted into this leadership role and there are skills that you lack, like maybe delegation, to delegate to your teammates. Maybe because you're so used to being an individual star performer, you've never had to rely solely on others. You've always done your job and met those expectations. And maybe you don't know how to delegate like a leader. That's a skill set that you can build. How about problem solving? Um, that's one of your primary roles as a leader. Critical thinking, self-awareness is a skill set. So you've got all these skills that you've realized, okay, I can use in this new role, but there's many more that I have voids in. How about strategy? As leaders, we take the overall strategic plan of an organization, and we as leaders have to align our departments with those strategic goals. And we have to learn how to plan these strategies. We have to put tactics to these strategies, timelines, deadlines. We have to execute and reiterate. It's an iterative process of strategic planning and execution. And so, do you have those skills? Do you even know how to do that? So it's important that we come to the realization that we do lack some experience. And experience comes down to three simple variables: your mindset, your skill set, and your strategy, which is why I have my handy dandy board here. You see, there are three columns here. We're going to do an exercise together with these three variables. So your lack of experience comes down to those three things. And listen, we get on the job training. If you're thrusted into leadership without leadership development and training, and you're in this position right now and you're going, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm overwhelmed. I'm in over my head. I'm so frustrated with the situation. I get it. We understand you. But if just so you know, this is as simple as it gets. Your mindset, skill set, and your strategy comes down to your experience level, and you're learning on the job right now. This is important. So you're going to put this work right away. Whether you're a brand new leader or a seasoned leader, these are things that you need to be aware of. And so when I was a new leader, I lacked competence. I lacked skills. I could sell anything to anybody at Bath and Body Works. Trust me, I was in love with the products myself as a young, 19-year-old, and I could sell ice to Eskimos. Seriously, I was it came very natural for me to sell. And so of course I met quotas, surpassed them, surpassed, challenges that my manager would put forth on the team. I would, be the one with the highest sales every single time. And so they saw that as high potential. But in reality, I was a high performer and I didn't have the potential to lead. They didn't know the difference. And many of us out here don't know that the differences between a high performer and a high potential person. And so when I got into leadership, I immediately knew I don't belong here. And it was so aggravating for me because I wanted to prove to my teammates and I wanted to prove to my regional leaders that I was able to do this, that I had enough knowledge and competence to do this, that I had the right mindset to lead this store, that I had the right skills. I thought selling were the only skills I needed to lead a team. No. um, as a high performer, you bet you best know, and as a leader, you best know how to train your people to sell. That's for certain. That was just one of many skills that I lacked. And strategy. I mean, you give me a quota and our store would meet it, and I didn't know how it impacted the rest of the region or the organization overall. I had no idea. And it was so overwhelming and frustrating for me as someone who wanted to give her best, who didn't wanna let anybody down. I mean, I was probably one of the youngest leaders in the history of this store. And I did not get leadership training and development. Again, no fault to them, but when I soon realized, "Oh, I'm in over my head. I don't even know how to do this." And let's be real, I didn't last but 3 years there because of the stress and the overwhelm and the lack of competence, the lack of confidence, the lack of clarity. And I mean, I was courageous, that's for sure. I would show up every day giving my all, but I realized I was doing more damage than good. The lack of experience was costing my team, myself, and my organization overall. I had such high turnover. And I remember my regional manager said, we've lost 5 people within the last 4 weeks. What are you going to do about this? And I said, "Oh, just hire more." And she said, "Do you think they're lining up outside the door to work here? We're lucky if we get applicants in here." And I said, "Oh, it's fine. I can handle it." That was costing my reputation, costing my team, costing performance, costing my goals, costing my sales quotas. It was costing us big time. Performance was another issue. My team did not want to perform. They didn't take me seriously because I was one of them. I was one of them before, and now I was a leader and I wanted to separate myself from even knowing them personally. I just wanted to keep it professional and I didn't want to invest in them personally because, I know them and I know how they are and I know they gossip about all the leaders and I know that, they barely come into work wanting to work. And so I had to put my foot down, and that distanced myself from my team. So performance plummeted. We were barely making quotas. We were barely selling anything when I was running the store. Employee morale was extremely low. People did not want to show up to work. And if they did, they did not care about my directive. They did not care about my leadership. They did not care about meeting any quotas. Employee morale was so low. I mean, which obviously led to high turnover. And so it all goes back to my lack of experience. And I just wanted to be a good leader. I just wanted to show and to prove everybody that even though I was 19 years old without a lick of experience, that I could do this. That's all I wanted. But ultimately, I wanted to feel competent. I wanted to feel confident. And I hit a wall. I hit a wall when my regional manager said, "I think your time here is coming to an end." And I said, "Well, what do you mean my time here is coming to an end? I've planned a whole future around retail management and this store. What do you mean? I love what I do." She said, "Well, there's some issues that are happening and we need to talk about every single point on this list I have, and you need to tell me how you're going to turn this around because you're going to be on probation. If you can't turn this around, you will be terminated and you will no longer be able to work here, not even as an employee." And that was very scary for me because the worst nightmare came true. I let my people down and I let her down, all because of the lack of experience. Now, again, nobody offered me leadership training and development, but it was not their responsibility to do that. It was my responsibility to get that training and to get that help. So if you are in that same position, where you are feeling in over your head, when you are feeling overwhelmed and frustrated in your current role, and you know that you have voids in your leadership, voids in your mindset, gaps in your skills, lack of knowledge in strategy and implementation, it is your responsibility. There's still hope, but don't count on your employer to provide these trainings for you. If you want to be successful in this role, you must do something about it. And let's do something about it today, shall we? This is why I've put up, and those of you who watch these trainings every week, I love my columns. I always give an exercise where you are putting columns together here, and here we've got 3 columns. And I talked about, and I will always talk about these 3 variables. These are the 3 simple variables that impact your leadership. 3 variables: your mindset, your skill set, and strategy. So when you do this exercise, here's where we're going to practice some self honesty. Here's where we're going to say, okay, I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I'm in over my head, even though I've been around the block, even though I'm a mid level manager. I still have some voids that I need to fill. Let's practice self honesty then. So identify what in your mindset do you have a gap in? And I like to start with just dumping everything out of my brain. And it's just my current mindset around my leadership abilities, my leadership capacity, even my team, even my clients, the stakeholders, investors. I just dump every belief or thought I have around my leadership existence goes in the mindset column. And I did this the other day with a client. We put pen to paper. I said, all right, tell me all of the thoughts or belief systems that you have around your capacity to lead. And she said, well, I don't think I'm enough. I said, you're not enough as a human, you're not enough, or as a leader, you don't have enough skills. Like, let's be very specific in this column. And she said, "Oh, no, 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 no. I am enough. I am enough as a human. I'm worthy to have anything I want as a human. You're right. I am not enough. I don't have enough of those skills that I need." Great. That's why we're doing this exercise. Another thing that came up for her was, I don't believe in my team anymore. They have failed me time and time again. Okay, leader. Well, we're responsible for every result that we create in our teams and in our departments. And we need to look at you to see how you're responsible for those results. But okay, let's write that down. So, see, these are things that we need to further explore. So, get curious right now. Get curious about those gaps in your mindset. But again, pour everything out. The positive belief systems you have, the belief systems that are yielding negative results that you currently have, your mood, your personality, issues, traits, challenges, whatever, put that under the mindset column. Because this way you get to see on paper, your brain gets to see on paper, here are those gaps. And no wonder I feel overwhelmed. These are the same thoughts that I keep thinking about every single day. And they're showing up. I'm showing up in the organization like this every single day. So yeah, of course, my actions and behaviors are going to reflect the mindset that I have. And I always tell my leaders, and this is something you may want to mark, you may want to write down, because this is a very important thing I'm about to say. Show me your results, and I'll show you the correlation to your mindset. Show me the results that you have created in your life, and I will show you the quality of your thoughts and your belief systems, AKA your mindset. Just look at the results you're creating right now in your team, in the department, in the organization. Are those results that you're proud of? Sure, they were challenging. Sure, sometimes the season was pretty overwhelming, but are you proud of those results? Did they yield positive results? And let's tie it right back to the quality of that mindset. Same thing with the results that yielded negative results. Let's tie that back to your thoughts, the quality of your thoughts and your belief systems. That's why the mindset is so important. So many of us leaders want to take massive action without considering what's driving the action, which is the mindset. So put what you need to put in this column, this first column here, so that we can, again, practice self honesty. How about your skills? That's the second column. And stay with me, we're going to wrap this up shortly. The skills. What skills do you currently have that have been honed, that have been seasoned? These are the skills that you're most proud of. These are the skills you probably use day in and day out. But what if there's some skills that you have a blind spot in? You don't realize there's a skill that you need to be successful in to create better results in your department. Write those skills down as well. With my client, we identified some very interesting skills that she is uncertain about, unstable in. And so, what is she going to do about those skills? She's going to take micro credentialing courses that I offer in the Institute so that she can close those gaps. How about for you? And the last column that you see here towards the end is strategy. What do you know about strategy? What do you know about aligning the organization's strategic plan with your department's goals and objectives? What do you know about that? How do you implement? How do you create a strategic plan? Who do you assign roles to? The deadlines, the goals that you need to meet with this strategic plan? What are how are you going to execute? Do you have a response process? Because this is an iterative process. What do you know about strategy? Write down examples of what you've experienced. And also self-honesty here, the lack of knowledge in this area. Because let me remind you again, your lack of experience will cost you. And experience comes down to those three simple variables. What is your mindset? What are the skills? And what's the strategy? Three simple variables that correlate to your leadership impact. Simple, end of story. That's as simple as I can make leadership. And by the way, that's our goal in the Institute, is to simplify leadership so that you can amplify your impact. That's what we do. And so try this exercise. Don't try, do this exercise today, right away, so that you can start this process of self-awareness, so that you know what voids and gaps you need to close. All right, dear leader, 32 minutes into our live, and let me see if we have any questions or comments. I don't have any questions or comments. If you're watching the replay, we always appreciate your insights and we'd love to hear from you. So this is the homework. Go put this into practice right away, and then go seek opportunities for help. This is your responsibility, not your employer's. Now, if your employer has professional development funds, fantastic. Go get the help you need. Here's what I'd like to offer you right now. We have an assessment called the Leader Impact Assessment. My institute is based on research, evidence-based research. We are always measuring, quantifying our leaders' impact. And so I have a free assessment that you're going to want to take right away. Again, it's called the Leader Impact Assessment. You're going to go to drdenisesimpson.com/assessment, and you're going to be measured on those three simple variables: mindset, skill set, and strategy. And you are going to get an individualized PDF report showing you the strategies. It's going to show you the gaps that you have, number one, the voids that you have right now. So if this exercise is too challenging for you, go take this assessment. It's only 24 questions, 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, you'll get an individualized PDF report showing your voids, showing your deficiencies, showing where you're challenged, and whether you are conscious of it or not, you will get those results right away. And then strategies on how to close those gaps. I also provide you with a real life, real world case study. You will be presented with a client case study to show you someone who was in your position and how they closed those gaps for themselves. So go to drdenisesimpson.com/assessment right away so that you can go and see where you're at. I will make sure that I post this wherever you're watching this replay so that you can go click on that assessment and take it right away. So, a word of advice here, dear leader. Self-awareness is the number one skill that predicts leader success. Self-awareness. And that's what we do every single week here. And so if after doing this exercise or after taking that free leader impact assessment, you realize that you have more voids or gaps than you realized, that is okay. I'm about normalizing everything. This is normal to have those gaps. What's not normal is for you to be overwhelmed and frustrated knowing that you have these gaps and not do something about it. That's not normal. And that's something that we can do, that we can remedy immediately. So I'm wishing you the best as you are venturing on your leadership journey. Know that we're here to support you every single week, and go take that assessment as soon as possible. Again, it's drdenisesimpson.com/assessment. I'll see you all next week. Please post your comments, questions below, and I'll be happy to answer them. Take good care, everybody.